All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling a topic that can feel, incredibly complex: cancer. But what if I told you that at its core, it all boils down to one simple, fundamental problem? It's the story of what happens when our very own cells, when they go rogue and stop playing by the rules.
So, to really get a handle on this, we have to ask a pretty basic question. See, your body, it's like this massive, perfectly coordinated city with trillions of citizens, your cells, all working together in perfect harmony. But what happens when some of those citizens decide to break all the rules?
Well, in a healthy body, all our cells have this amazing built-in personal space rule. Seriously, the scientific term for it is contact inhibition. It's super simple. When a cell is growing and it bumps up against its neighbors, it gets a message, loud and clear. Hey, it's getting a little crowded in here, time to stop dividing. And just like that, order is maintained. It's an elegant system, really.
But cancer cells, they're the rebels, the outlaws of the cellular world. They basically put in earplugs and completely ignore that stop signal. They just keep dividing, no matter what. They pile up on top of each other, relentlessly, without any restraint. And that out-of-control pileup of cells, that's what we call a tumor.
Now, it's super important to know that not all tumors are the same. This is a key distinction. You have benign tumors, which are, you can think of them like a noisy neighbor. Annoying, maybe, but they stay in their own house, they're contained. But a malignant tumor, that's a whole different beast. It's not a neighbor, it's an invader. It doesn't just grow in one spot, it aggressively pushes into the surrounding tissues, and worse, it starts hijacking the body's resources, literally starving your healthy cell.
And that brings us to what is, without a doubt, the most dangerous and feared property of cancer. It's a process called metastasis. The best way to think about it is colonization. A few of those cancer cells break away from the main tumor. They hop into the bloodstream or the lymphatic system like it's a highway, and they travel to distant parts of the body to set up new tumors, new colonies. This is what turns a local problem into a full-body, systemic disease, and it's what makes cancer so incredibly challenging to treat.
Okay, so that's the what. But what about the why? I mean, what on earth causes a perfectly normal, rule-following cell to suddenly go rogue and turn into this destructive agent?
Well, the general term for these triggers is carcinogens. These are any agents that have the nasty ability to damage or corrupt a cell's DNA, basically pushing it down the path to becoming cancerous. And, they generally fall into three main categories: physical, chemical, and biological.
Let's start with the physical ones. Think about things like ionizing radiation, like X-rays, or even the non-ionizing UV rays from sunlight. What these have in common is energy. Enough energy to literally zap our cells and break the delicate strands of our DNA. And once the DNA is broken, it can lead to mutations, the kind of mutations that start this whole mess.
Next up, you've got chemical carcinogens. And the most famous, or maybe I should say infamous, example here is tobacco smoke. It's not just one chemical, it's a toxic cocktail of dozens of different carcinogens. Every single puff is a direct chemical assault on the cells lining the lungs.
And last, we have biological agents. This can be things like certain viruses, we call them oncogenic viruses, that can actually hijack our cells and insert their own malicious genetic code. But here's the part that's kind of mind-bending. Sometimes the call is coming from inside the house. You see, we all have these genes called proto-oncogenes. Their day job is perfectly normal. They help our cells grow and divide when they're supposed to. But if one of them gets mutated and gets stuck in the on position, it becomes what's called an oncogene. And it's like a gas pedal that's floored, driving non-stop cancerous growth.
So, we've talked about what can cause it, but here's the thing. Regardless of the trigger, the single most important factor in successfully fighting cancer is time. Catching it early, before it has the chance to get big, and more importantly, before it starts to spread, that is absolutely everything.
And thankfully, modern medicine has an incredible arsenal of tools for detection. We're talking about everything from a biopsy, where a doctor takes a tiny piece of tissue to look at under a microscope, all the way to amazing imaging tech like CT scans and MRIs. These things can create these incredibly detailed 3D maps of your insides, basically leaving those cancer cells with nowhere left to hide. So once it's detected, the battle begins. And it's almost never just one single line of attack. It's more like a strategic, multi-front war. You've got surgery, which is about physically removing the tumor. Then there's radiation therapy, using highly targeted beams to kill any remaining cancer cells. You have chemotherapy, which uses powerful drugs that hunt down rapidly dividing cells all over the body. And now, there's a truly revolutionary new front in this fight: immunotherapy.
And honestly, this is one of the most exciting things happening in cancer research right now. See, cancer cells are tricky. They're masters of disguise. They often figure out how to wear this kind of invisibility cloak that lets them hide from our own immune system. What immunotherapy does is it rips that cloak off. It uses these things called biological modifiers, like something called α-interferon, to basically sound the alarm and wake up your body's own immune system, teaching it to finally recognize and destroy the tumor on its own. So when you put all of this together, it really leaves us with a big, and I think pretty hopeful question, right? As our understanding of this disease gets deeper and deeper, are we on the verge of finally turning cancer from this deadly foe into something more like a manageable chronic condition? You know, creating these explainers, especially on a topic as big as this one, takes a lot of effort from our whole team. So if you found this breakdown valuable and you'd like to see us tackle more topics like this, please show your support. Like this, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us continue our work of making complex knowledge accessible for everyone. Thanks for watching.